Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms. And yesterday I picked up the new tractor. It's a 1941 John Deere Model A. And I was able to get it running, but it would only run for a few minutes before it died. So today I want to start doing some basic maintenance items that probably should be done before you run it anyway. First things first, we'll get this oil drained out of here and see how it looks. All right, so this is the check point. And then here is the oil filter, and here's the drain plug. I'll show you that better in a minute. But any of that I'm gonna be turning, I wanna spray it with WD-40 and let it soak a little bit to make it easier to get any of this to come out and come off. That's kind of exciting. It feels thin. It's got some, I think it's got some gasoline in it, but it's black. It's not green like a video I just watched. All right, so right here is the drain plug. This is the oil filter. Got a 5-gallon bucket here because this is supposed to have a 2-gallon capacity. I want to make sure I have plenty of room to catch it all. Yeah, it's a very thin oil at this point with that. Like I said, I think there's some gasoline in it. So it's running quickly. I think some of these have 11 quarts, so that's close to 3 gallons, but still, it shouldn't be 5, which is about what we're getting here. All right, so this has a John Deere brand filter in it. Next steps are find a new filter, and I'm gonna get 1030 oil, and I'll probably get some of that Lucas oil conditioner. I think that's really good stuff for an older engine, just my opinion. Well, one piece of good news is Heritage Tractor, which is my local John Deere dealership, did have the filter, the oil filter in stock. And nothing I've seen shows this filter right here. All the videos I've seen on changing oil on one of these older tractors, it just has a fill cap right here. You pull the cap out and that's it. This one has this setup here, so it looks like it's designed to ventilate the crankcase. Inside of, you've got air ports right here, it looks like, and then inside of here it's all full of junk and cobwebs and stuff. But then inside of that, where you fill the oil, it's got this other filter. So I guess this is supposed to ventilate the crankcase, and this is just keeping dust out. So they didn't have any of this. It shows it as an obsolete part. So I'm just gonna spray it down with some WD-40, blow some compressed air through it, and then let it dry while I'm doing the rest of the oil change. All right, so while that's drying out, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the battery. They said it was getting the exact rated amperage off of it, and that it tested as fully charged. Spray a little cleaner on there. Wire brush it and then spray some protectant on it. From everything I've seen, this should come with an O-ring, which works out great because it did come with an O-ring. The problem is I don't know where it goes. It's larger diameter than this. It can't go in that. Oh, maybe it goes right here. No, it's big. It's too big to go there, which means it can't go inside there. So an O-ring didn't come out with it. I don't see how to put one back, so I guess we're not running an O-ring, and if it leaks, then I'll come back and revisit this. I'll get the plug back in. And then I'll pour just a little bit of oil in here. See if it leaks. After cleaning out this filter here, I checked, and where the air comes in is full of mud dauber nest and all kinds of cobwebs and stuff. So I sprayed some WD-40 in there. I had to actually break it up with a screwdriver. Then I was able to blow it out and get this all cleaned up. I'm gonna pour some in and make sure it's not leaking. And then I'm gonna replace 1 quart with this Lucas oil stabilizer. I think the original manual for these says to put 30 weight in the summer and 10 weight in the winter, and obviously now we have 1030, so I'm gonna use 1030. As old as it is, I might even go with something thicker like a 1540. That's just a thought that came into my mind. But with that stabilizer, this should be good, I think. All right, I poured a couple quarts in. Let me check down here. I think we're gonna be all right. This is 5 quarts, so I've got enough oil. I bought 4 of these. I've got enough to do 3 more oil changes probably. I use 50-gallon fuel tanks here on the property, and I just sent my son to refill one of them. And while he was gone, I thought, well, maybe I'll have him get me a spark plug. I was gonna take the spark plugs out and look at them. The one on that side, I was able to unscrew with my fingers. This one actually feels tight, but that can't have been helping us any. And it looked pretty bad, so I asked him to get 2 of those. Now, this stuff's really slow to run out of the bottle, so that'll give me a minute and I'll take the other spark plug out. Oh yeah, pretty loose still. If they have them at O'Reilly's, we'll put 2 new spark plugs in. If not, we'll clean them up and put them back. So with this quart of Lucas, that gets us to 6. So we'll have to put 2 more quarts in at least and then check the fluid. We should be at 8 quarts. We'll go ahead and check it. Though we're on a little bit of a hill and it's not an easy thing to move right now, but should get a good enough reading. All right, so we filled that to the rated capacity, and we did get oil out of the checkpoint. So we should be good to close this up. Now, time to start looking at how to drain out all the gas. Okay, we've definitely got some stuff settled in this gas bowl. I wiped out a ton of sludge with my finger right there. And some gravelly bits. Pretty nasty, really. Having that at the bottom of the bowl probably didn't actually hurt anything, but it's a sign that there's junk in the tank or the lines or the fuel or somewhere along the way. Also probably just needs to be cleaned out every once in a while. I don't know if this has a fuel filter. I don't know if they always did that or if that's a later addition. Now I thought this was gravity fed and would just leak out whenever I took that bowl out with the gas on. But right now I'm turning the gas on and nothing's leaking. Let's see where you drain it at. All right, so here's where the fuel bowl goes. Looks like there's some kind of rubber diaphragm or something here. See if, I think that should just pull off. Yeah, that's a fuel filter right there. I'll spray that out and go blow dry it with some compressed air. Oh yeah, that's really dirty. You can see, I don't know if they'll focus, that half of it's still dirty and half of it came clean already. All right, so that's a lot cleaner. Having that fuel filter blown out should help. Opening that is draining fuel, but I assume it's just draining the gas out of the carburetor. I don't think that's gonna sit there and drain the whole system. Yeah, just drain the gas out of the carburetor. I don't think this will do it either, but I'm gonna take this loose. So help a guy out who's ignorant. Fuel's on right here. Here's the fuel bowl. This is the fuel tank right there. So there's really nothing in between. I guess the next thing is to take this actually off the tank. So we'll do that real quick. This is just covered in rust and gunk. Might even be off the threads. But why would that not be leaking out? I know it's not out of gas, is it? All right, so I'm pretty confused now because this has the two fuel tanks. I was aware of that. They say most people don't use this front fuel tank, they use the back one. The front one's empty, the back one is full. But this hole goes into the back one, or into the front one that is empty. That's what runs down to the carburetor. I don't see how any way the fuel would get from this front tank down to the engine. There's no other fuel lines. So if they've been using this fuel tank, I'm just out of gas. Try to get a light and see what kind of debris is up there. All right, so my son's back with the gas tank. They did have the right spark plug, so we'll get those in real quick. Then I'll bring the gas tank over here and we'll get her filled up. All right, that does look a little better after I flushed it out. Take this up and blow it out with the air hose. All right, so got the fuel line back on. Put this little screen back on. Let's get a little gas in this bowl before putting it on so it fills quicker. got the fuel open, the line's back on, that's closed. Think we should be ready to put gas in it. I like Marvel Mystery Oil for this older equipment. I don't put it in like a new car. Put the rest of that in the 50-gallon tank. Are we leaking the gas out at?
Leaking.
Where at though? Everywhere is what it looks like. I noticed it leaking before. Alright, so this whole thing's gonna have to be taken apart. But all I did was put gas in it. I started leaking gas out the carburetor, which it wasn't doing. I'm leaking gas just sitting here. I pulled the spark plug out. I'm leaking gas out of the spark plug. And it wouldn't turn over. Took the spark plugs halfway loose, like they were, and then it would turn over. So basically what I found out is this gravity-fed fuel system, if you've got a lot of fuel in the tank, it pushes too much gas down and all the seals are bad in the carburetor, and it lets that gas flood into the engine, and you know, at that point it won't run. What I did was drain that gas out again, just put a little bit of gas in there. I was able to start it and drive it over here. So I've already found a couple of companies that specialize in carburetors for these tractors. The rebuild looks really complicated, so I'm considering sending it off or ordering one and then you send them back yours so they can rebuild it. I watched 2 rebuild videos and I was like, it's a lot more going on in that carburetor than I ever would have believed. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys taking time to watch the video. Just a minute, you'll see links on the screen to a couple more of our videos. And I'll see you next time.